And then there we go. Scroll down.
And we're live. Welcome to Kansas Missing and Unsolved. I have Hope here with me. Hi, Hope. How are you?
Hi, Stephanie. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You know, we're here. So
Right.
that's the start to everything, is being here. You may notice that Mr. Ricky, the star of the show, is not here. He had a mandatory meeting that he had to do. He will not have this meeting very often. It's like every couple of months. And we wanted to just be thinking about everybody's schedules, and we wanted to continue to keep the show on Wednesday because we know that this is the showtime.
Right.
So we will just go ahead and get started. Ricky did give us some additional information on some of these flyers that are updated, and we'll just get into it. We have Isabella Miller. She's missing from Topeka. She went missing on August 19th. She's 14. So Isabella Miller is a missing endangered runaway who went missing from Topeka, Kansas on August 19th. She's 14 years old. She's 5'3" to 5'5" tall and weighs 180 pounds. She has dirty blonde hair that was last known to be dyed a blue, dark blue, almost black, and blue-green eyes. Isabella is also carrying a red and black checkered full-side backpack. If you have any information regarding Isabella's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Topeka, Kansas Police Department at 785-368-9247 or 785-368-9551 or 785-368-9200 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. Well, before we get too far into here, so Isabella Miller is a teenager. So I know, Hope, you've been keeping track of all of the adults and children that have been missing each week. So what are they now, and what were they last week?
Well, last week we had 198 juveniles and 420 adults. This week we have 194 juveniles and 414. So our numbers have went down, which is good. You know, unfortunately, they're still high. But, you know, hopefully, especially with the kids, you know, a lot of them are just being kids. And hopefully they'll all go home, you know, if they possibly can. And I've got a number that, you know, kids can call for if they want to go home, but they don't necessarily feel like they can. And it's 1-800-RUNAWAY, and that's 1-800-786-2929.
That's right.
Hi, Chris.
Hi,
Hi,
Chris.
Mark. Hi, Rodney.
And so that runaway number, who can use that number?
As far as I know, anybody. I mean, if you need to go home or you need help, I mean, it's a helpline is what it is. But, you know, it's mainly for runaway teenagers or kids, you know, if they got mad and took off and now they're afraid to go home, you know, this is a number that they can call and they can be, you know, they can send somebody to pick them up and they can be the mediator between them and their parents type thing.
So 1-800-RUNAWAY is directly associated with Greyhound, and they will also get you on a free Greyhound to wherever you need to be.
That's good to know.
Good,
Thank you.
good information.
All right, next we have Angela Green. Angela Green is missing from Prairie Village, Kansas on June 19th, 2019. There have been conflicting reports as to what happened, as well as where Angela is. Angela's daughter was told by her dad that Angela has passed away in July of a stroke, but she is not sure of this or any of his other claims. Police have gotten some conflicting statements about her whereabouts that are a little concerning to them as well. Police say they are treating Angela's case as a missing persons investigation and are working with several other agencies to try to locate her. At the time of her disappearance, Angela was 51 years old. She is now 56. She is 5'9", and she weighs 116 pounds. She has brown hair and brown eyes. If you have any information about Angela's disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call the Prairie Village, Kansas Police Department at 913-642-6868 or the Crime Stoppers Tips Hotline at 816-474-8477 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. There is a $50,000 reward that's now being offered for information on Angela Green's location or finding her remains. Wow.
It's crazy. She's been gone for a long time, you know.
Yeah.
Let's just hope somebody has something and they call in. Hi, Esther.
And just to say, and I've been kind of following along backstage on these last couple shows, and Angela Green, she's not really one that's been covered before, I believe.
I think we did it last week, and I think that's for some, if I remember right.
Yeah. So as everybody knows, Ricky puts tons of hard work into making these flyers, into going to events and sharing with people about our missing people. So if you do have someone that you know is missing and you need some help, like Ricky is there. He will make a flyer for you. Absolutely. And we will talk about it. And these flyers, like, they are shared all over the place. I've been seeing a lot of people share them. So share them out, please. And if you have information about Angela, please let us know. Yes. Or call the police departments, actually.
Yes.
All right, we have Angelica Perez. She's a missing endangered runaway who went missing from Wichita, Kansas on June 23rd, 2024, not too long ago. Angelica is 13 years old. She is 5'3" and weighs 115 pounds. She has brown hair and brown eyes. She does have a nose piercing. If you have any information, sorry, thank you. That's a Ricky's looking good. Any information on Angelica's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9456 or 316-660-9254 or 316-263-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. I know this has been talked about a lot by Derek and Ricky. When you're taking, we all have the filters and everything that we take all the time. If you have a teenager in your life or just anybody in your life, make sure that you get a picture that is without a filter, because then that can definitely help someone be found a lot quicker if you have that information for the flyers.
I mean, I did a filter the other day and I was like, I look like I'm 12 in it, and I'm like, there's no way, So yeah, it's definitely important to keep current pictures of your kids. If they change their hair, they get a new piercing, whatever it may be, take a current picture. Keep them updated.
Mr. Dietrich Foster, we've covered him for a little bit now.
Yeah.
He went missing from Independence, Kansas on April 12th of 2020, right in the middle of all of the craziness that COVID was.
Yeah.
He was reported missing on May 12th. He was last seen around April 12th in Independence. KBI agents and detectives from the Independence Police Department are conducting the case as a homicide based upon findings during the investigation into Foster's disappearance. At the time of his disappearance, he was 37 years old. He is now 41. He is 5'9" and weighs 190 pounds. He has black hair and brown eyes. He has a scar on his chest from heart surgery and a scar on the right side of his nose. He has the following tattoos: a cross on his right forearm, the astrological sign for Gemini on his right arm, 3 dice on his arm, the name Dejane on his arm, and the word Fu on his abdomen. If you have any information regarding Dietrich's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Independence, Kansas Police Department at 620-332-1700 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. There is another reward for this case, a $5,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for the disappearance and suspected murder of Dietrich Foster. That's probably one of the most frustrating things, is when your person is missing and you don't know what happened, but you suspect that there is foul play. We really feel for the families there, because it's got to be hard out there without an answer, but you have some information that leads to something maybe not good happening. Go ahead and follow the Facebook group dedicated to Dietrich, and the link is there in the comments for you to follow as well. Next, we have Emily Ibarra. She's missing from Dodge City, Kansas, and she went missing on January 12th, 2023. So we're coming up over a year. Coming up into 2 years here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Emily was last seen at the South High-Rise Apartments at Dodge City, Kansas. Her family and friends have not seen or heard from her since she went missing in January. At the time of her disappearance, Emily was 24 years old. She is now 26. She is 5'5" and weighs 200 pounds. She has black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Emily's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Overland Park, Kansas Police Department at 913-895-6300 or the Dodge City, Kansas Police Department, 620-227-4646, or the KBI at 785-296-4017. I do know, I was talking to Ricky a while back, and anybody can call any police department and they can ask any questions about any of these cases. So, and like the squeaky wheel gets the oil sometimes. Some of these people might not have anybody to call and ask about their case. And some people do have people to call. So if you're feeling like you need to help a little bit, go ahead and call and just see if there's any updates.
Absolutely.
Because you never know what might be out there.
And if you have any information that, it may just be the smallest thing that you wouldn't even think about. Call. Let, the officers know what it is. It may not be nothing. It may be something. But, it could be the exact thing that they need.
Well, we have this little string right here. Where are you watching from? So Queenie. Hi, Queenie from
Hi,
Kansas
Queenie.
City, Missouri. Heather from Fredonia. I have heard of that town. I believe it's close to Wichita.
I think
Possibly.
so. I'm not sure.
I might even know somebody from there. I don't know, but that's a really cool name, Fredonia. Trina Renee in Wichita. Hello. All right, we're coming up to Mr. Perez here. Mr. Alexander Perez, he went missing from Ulysses, Kansas on December 1st, 2020. He contacted a family member via telephone on December 1st and advised he would be coming to their home to wash clothing items. Alexander never arrived at the family member's home in Ulysses. He has not been heard from or seen by family or friends since this date. Alexander had been staying with family and friends prior to his disappearance. It is believed that Alexander may still be in the local Ulysses area, or he may be in the Garden City, Kansas, or surrounding area. At the time of his disappearance, Alex was 35 years old. He is now 38. He is 5 foot 11 inches tall and weighs 235 pounds. He has black hair that he shaves nearly bald and brown eyes. Alexander has a tattoo of a bumblebee on his face underneath his left eye. He has Perez tattooed on one of his arms. He has a tattoo of a cross on a chain across his neck. If you have any information regarding Alexander's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Grant County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 620-356-3500 or the Ulysses, Kansas Police Department at 620-356-4600 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. So I don't know if there's been any updates. I know we talked about previously the trial happening in Garden City for the other person suspected to maybe be involved with this.
Yes.
So if you have any updates out there, let us know. Probably should have looked that up.
Esther from Greensburg. Hi, Esther.
Mhm. And really from
Chapman.
Chapman. Very nice.
Hi, Chris.
We got 2 Greensburg.
Southeast of Wichita. Yeah, I thought it was. It's way
Oh,
closer to Neodosha. Oh,
yeah, I miss them every day.
yeah.
Another one of those hard cases where you just don't have answers, possibly getting some answers. Not ever going to be the answers that you want,
Yeah.
probably.
But at least something is better than just walking
than
through
wondering.
life not knowing. Kenny Wrightcheck.
Yes, sir.
We cover him every week, I believe, don't we?
Yeah, it sounds like it. And then I think I was reading on some of the comments of last week, like he actually had some people that used to be involved with him. And so, and then just some other things that were commented. So I don't want to, we don't know what happened with Mr. Kinney, but we need to find him. So he went missing from Salina, Kansas on November the 4th of 2019. Kinney sometimes uses the last name Brown. Kinney suffers from diminished mental health capabilities and is on disability, but has not tried to access the funds since he was last seen. He may have family in Northwest Kansas, possibly around Colby. Kinney was last seen at the Gospel Mission in Salina. He left there and hasn't been seen or heard from since. The Gospel Mission, I wonder if that's
It's a shelter
is
in
it?
in Salina.
Kinney doesn't have a phone, a vehicle, or any identification. At the time of his disappearance, Kinney was 69 years old. He is now 74. He is 5'9" and weighs about 175 pounds. He has gray hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Kinney's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Salina Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477 or text SA tips to crimes or visit their website. Follow Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip or call the KBI at 785-296-4017. This little banner down here, feeling down, call 988 because you matter.
Absolutely. And 988, sorry. A lot of people associate it with just a suicide hotline, and it's not. It's a help hotline. We're fortunate enough that in our community that we have the three towns in our county each have a building that has a phone, and you just go in and it's just you and this phone, and you pick it up. You can't make any other phone calls on it. You just pick it up, and it directly connects you to the 988 number. And you talk to them, they'll get you in touch with the right people in your area or whatever, because it is nationwide. But it can be called from any kind of phone. It can be, you can send a text. I did find that out. You can text it, and you can talk through text if you don't want to talk actually on the phone. And it's just, it's for anything. If you're on the edge and ready to fall off, or you're having a bad day and you're not really coping with it real well, call. They'll talk with you. They'll be a sounding board, and they can maybe help you with some advice or get you in touch with somebody that can.
Yeah, it's that helpline for you to reach out. The other phone numbers that used to be around, those still work as well, but this
Yes.
988 number was meant to kind of consolidate and give everyone that really quick access to it.
Yeah.
It is not meant to be a replacement for like regular therapy or anything like that. Just if you're in that moment and you need some help, somebody you can call. They are working on that line to figure out how they can best support people that do have disabilities, people who are deaf, people who just need a little bit of additional help in accessing that. So that's in place, and so it's open to everybody.
Yes.
All right, Colton Ross Barrera. Colton disappeared from Russell, Kansas on September 26, 2008. A friend dropped him off at an outdoor skate park. Colton was supposed to call his friend when he wanted to be picked up, but he never did. Authorities believe he left of his own accord, but Colton's family doesn't believe this because he wasn't having any problems that would cause him to run away, and he left his wallet and identification behind. Recent information suggests that Colton may have been killed and his body hidden. Colton's case remains unsolved. If you have any information regarding Colton's disappearance or know of his whereabouts, please call the Kansas City Field Office of the FBI at 816-512-8200 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 or the Russell County, Kansas Sheriff's Department at 785-483-2151. They have a lot of pictures of him, and he does have a Facebook page that is dedicated to him, I do believe. It's the Colton Barrera Memorial page. I encourage you to go visit that page. It does give a lot of details. It gives what the author of this page feels like is the three people who might be responsible for him. So go check that out, and it's still active. There was a reel posted 4 hours ago. So definitely check that out and give them some love.
Absolutely.
It is important to know that you have a community behind you, and to kind of give that feeling of your loved one has not been forgotten. That, again, as we've already said, that's got to be hard, of not having your person back and not knowing for sure what happened, but having those little inklings of what might have happened. So there is the Facebook page there in the comments that you can click on and visit.
Miss Rochelle
Elizabeth Hammond. We have some visitors in the studio. So she went missing from Colorado on August 15th, 2019. This feels a little smaller on the words here. Rochelle was last seen walking away from her home in Colorado. She left all of her belongings behind, including her phone, identification, medication, car, computer, tools, and pet dog. Every time I hear that somebody has left all of those items behind, you really have to wonder, like, where can you go? You can't really get very far if you
Right.
don't have any of those things. And medication too. Like, some people cannot be without their medication.
Yeah.
Rochelle had only been living in the area for about 3 weeks prior to her disappearance. She had previously lived in the Columbus, Ohio area. She may be homeless. Although police can find little evidence in her disappearance, her mother believes that she did not leave on her own accord and may have been a human trafficking victim. Wow. Rochelle suffers from bipolar disorder and schizophrenia and has been prescribed medication for her conditions, which she left behind. Rochelle's nose is pierced. She has numerous tattoos, including the phrase "live like a lion" on her upper chest, a star behind her ear, a skull on the back of her wrist, stars on the inside of her forearm, a cat with a bong on her shoulder, and other tattoos, and some are pictured here. She was last known to be wearing a black tank top, khaki shorts, black Nike shoes, and a silver circular barbell in her nose. If you have any information regarding Rochelle's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Alamosa County, Colorado Sheriff's Office at 719-589-6608. All right, we need to find Rochelle for
Yes.
sure.
I was scrolling through Facebook the other night, and there's I can't remember what the page is. It's a Missing in America
Mm-hmm.
page, and they actually had a video of Rochelle, and it was just little, like different pictures all put together. It was kind of neat, just looking
Oh,
at it and looking at her in different stages of her life, playing with her dog and stuff like that. It was really touching.
I say we'll have to find that. It would be nice to share also. Just a sidebar, like, to me it's so like, we have all of the technology that we have cameras at every, if you're in a major city, like every stoplight there's a camera, building there's a camera, which is like so much technology, but we can still lose people, which
Well,
is
I mean,
amazing to me.
sometimes they don't want to be found, and when you don't want to be found, you're gonna disappear. When I was a kid, I remember being in Kansas City for a FFA convention, and I went out to smoke a cigarette that I wasn't supposed to be smoking on the school.
How old were you?
I was 14.
Okay.
But I was talking to some of the homeless people that was right there by the convention center, and sometimes they just get tired of having to deal with responsibilities.
Yeah.
But I mean, and a lot of them don't get in touch with their family because if they do, then they have to go back to reality.
Yeah.
And if they have mental issues like Miss Rochelle, a lot of times that and not being medicated, I know when I'm really bad, I disappear. I mean, I may be there, but I'm not there. So
Yeah. I challenge you to find a person who hasn't ever had one day where they just wanted to walk away. They wanted to leave it all behind and start walking and find something different. I'm
yeah,
sure that happens to all of us. Um, so, and here it really shocked me. I don't know why, but at the time of her disappearance, she would have been 30, and they say that it's suspected that she, might have been human trafficked, which
yeah,
to me that seems to be something that might happen to younger people. Uh, but this goes to show anybody, happen to
Yeah,
anybody. So
absolutely.
Miss Haley Davis. Haley Davis went missing from Salina, Kansas on July 21st, 2023. She left Salina with a male acquaintance to go to Wichita. Haley was last active on social media and last heard from on July 21st. At the time of her disappearance, she was 19 years old. She is now 20. Um, yeah. She was 5'6" to 5'7" and weighs between 190 and 200 pounds. Her hair was last known to be dyed bleach blonde, and she has blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Haley's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or call Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477 or text SA TIPS to crimes or visit the website and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip or the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-268-4181 or 316-268-4407 or 316-263-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017.
Now, I know for Miss Haley, her brother Travis just had I guess, a candlelight visual or, whatever. I can't think what it's called, but at the park there in Salina just recently, you know, it it proves to you if you're out there and you don't think anybody loves you, when you have a flyer up and you have somebody that goes on TV and talks about your life, and there are people that love every one of these the people on these flyers, and if you know anybody that's on one, or you know of where they were or at or whatever, you know, just call and give a tip. Hey, they're okay. If it's you, call somebody and say, "Hey, I'm fine." Um, I can't imagine having a family member that just up and disappeared, especially one so young. You know, I've had a couple cousins at a young age take themselves off this planet, and just the unanswered questions from that is hard enough. I can't imagine thinking that they were out there somewhere and not knowing where they're, you know.
And like you said, Haley's brother is very active. I know he's out
Yes.
there advocating with the police department, the detectives, and everything to help get her found. David Reese. Hi, Alicia from Winfield. David went missing from Harper, Kansas on August 1st,
2024.
2024. Very recent. He is believed to be driving a white Chevy Silverado bearing Kansas tag 885NEW. He was last seen on Thursday evening, August 1st, but investigators believe he was driving southbound on U.S. Highway 281 near Medicine Lodge on Friday morning, August 1st, around 7:40 a.m. He may be traveling with a chocolate Labrador Retriever. He has diabetes, anxiety, and a condition impairing cognition and memory. David is 73 years old. He is 5'11" and weighs around 250 pounds. He is balding and has a white beard. He has brown eyes and is likely wearing a baseball cap. If you have information regarding David's disappearance, or you know of his whereabouts, or you see his vehicle, please call 911 immediately. If you have other information about his whereabouts, please call the Harper, Kansas Police Department at 620-842-3830 or the KBI at 785-296-4017.
And that road between Harper and Medicine Lodge, it's kind of desolate out there. There's really not a whole lot there. Um, I used to travel from Elkhart to like Coldwater, Medicine Lodge, up that way to Winfield when I was going back to Treese, and there's really not a whole lot out there. I mean, and you get closer to Medicine Lodge, you got, well, they're mountains to me. They're not really mountains, but they're huge to me,
Yeah.
and you can just, I could see somebody driving off on a two track and not knowing where they're at and not being able to get back either.
Yeah, there's been a few times where I've been out on country roads with very little gas, very little cell phone charge, no charger in the car, and I don't know my way around anywhere. So I can see how it would be easy to get lost. And then it says that he does have, some trouble with his memory.
Yeah.
So
So if anybody in that area sees something, a strange vehicle or anything, please go check it out or call 911. You could be what saves this man's life and gets him back home to his family.
right, with Eric
Marco.
Marco, he went missing from Wichita, Kansas, again on August 1st. Eric is 36 years old. He is 5'11" tall and weighs 150 pounds. He has long brown hair and brown eyes and a mustache. If you have any information regarding Eric's disappearance or you know of its whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-268-4181 or 316-268-4111 or 316-283-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. He looks really happy in those
Yeah.
pictures. I mean, that doesn't mean anything.
No,
It's not very much information that we have. I'd like to know a little bit more about
absolutely. I wonder if there's anything else maybe on the internet.
that. Could be.
Miss Dana Bruce.
Yes. So we've talked about Dana for a while now, and Ricky let us know that there is some new information that has been added to this flyer. So she went missing from Sedalia, Missouri on October 4th, 2008. She was last seen at her children's babysitter's home. She had left them there to go out, and police have identified the man that she was with on the night she vanished. He traveled to Atlanta, Georgia after her disappearance, and police questioned him about Bruce after he was arrested there on unrelated charges of marijuana possession and driving on a suspended license. Authorities haven't named him publicly, but they are calling him a person of interest in her case. He told his questioners that he and Dana parted ways after they left the bar, and he never saw her after that. She left all of her belongings behind, including her hairbrush and toothbrush, and she doesn't have any credit cards, debit cards, a checking account, a cellular phone, or a car. She was 23 at the time of her disappearance, and she would now be 39.
Yeah.
She is 5'2" and weighs 98 pounds. She has brown hair. It was colored brown at the roots and black at the ends with red highlights, green hazel eyes. She was last known to be wearing a black shirt with the word rebel in silver lettering on the front with blue jeans. Dana has a tattoo of a teddy bear with wings and the name Dylan on her upper left arm. She is blind in her left eye. She has a 2-inch scar along her lower spine and a staple scar on her right shoulder. Her ears are pierced one time each. And so here's some of the new information. Hello, Miss Marple. The new information that Ricky added is that there is a private investigator who has recently started looking into the case. So you can contact the Sedalia, Missouri Police Department at 660-827-7823 or 660-826-8100. The private investigator is Leslie at 626-800-3039. I would say, you know, if anybody has any information on this case, like contact that private investigator. The police are busy. They have a lot of things to do, and so it's really awesome that this private investigator can dedicate some time to try to help find her. I did kind of look up, like, she has this tattoo with that name, you know, so I thought, oh, you know, maybe a child, you know. So I did try to look up who maybe her son might be, if this was our son, but I didn't find anything. Dylan, if you're out there, go ahead and contact us. It would be interesting to have your perspective. And we just hope that Dana can be found.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to shout out all of our YouTube viewers that are out there tonight. And then also anybody who's new to the show. All of these flyers can be found on the Kansas Missing and Unsolved Facebook page, 90,000 followers. The flyers get shared like crazy. So this is a live show. We might read a number wrong, but all these flyers are going to be at Kansas Missing and Unsolved Facebook page. So go and check out the flyers there, share them from there, and make sure you're following that page.
Yeah, but I was just looking back in my messages here. I wanted to bring this up. Ricky would probably never bring this up himself because he is not doing this for any type of money or monetary gain. He cares about finding people. But he does have a job, he does have a family, and these flyers are created outside of both of those items, and it takes a lot of time. Every time someone is found, or of course, if there's somebody that's missing, that takes additional time to create another flyer. If there's an update or anything, he goes back in and he adds that information. So I just want to give a shout out to Ricky because it does take a lot of time. And like I said, he doesn't ask for money. He would never ask for money on his own. But I will ask for money for him. He does have a Patreon that you can visit. It's www.patreon.com/KMU live. Please feel free to visit that and support Ricky because it takes so much time and dedication. And yes, all the money goes to Ricky. The poor guy just, you know, has one thing after another, just kind of like we all do. Like his window got blown out of his van a while back, and just anything would be appreciated because Ricky works very hard,
very hard
to make this show. Not this show. Him showing up to the show is like a huge thing, also. But like, regardless of if we were here to put the show on the air, like Ricky is still there doing the flyers week after week, day after day.
And he does it without a special program. It's all hand typed in, and you know, it takes a lot of work. I mean,
Ricky, I think, is 58. So if there's any tech savvy people out there, this statement will make your head hurt. Ricky makes all of these flyers on Windows Paint. That's crazy. Please give him money.
We do appreciate Ricky, that is for sure.
Absolutely.
Hi, Rodney Cox.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Okay. All right. I don't believe that we got this updated here, Ricky.
We might want to skip this one because
Yeah.
we shouldn't say anything about this one.
Okay. All right. So we have Virginia Brown. She went missing from Clinton, Missouri on December 16th, 2020. She sometimes goes by the name Gina Bailey. It's believed that Virginia may still be in the Clinton, Missouri area or the Appleton City or Kansas City, Missouri area. Family says that Virginia developed some dangerous habits several years ago. She left her children with her dad in 2019 and has not been seen since. She last made contact with family in December of 2020. She was last active on her social media that her family knows of in May of 21. At the time of her disappearance, Virginia was 30 years old. She is now 33. She is 5 foot tall and weighs 130 pounds. She has blonde hair and blue eyes. Virginia's family is concerned about her safety and well-being. If you have any information regarding Virginia's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Clinton, Missouri Police Department at 660-885-2679 or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178 or 866-362-6422.
Getting close to 4 years. Didn't you
Yeah,
say
and
there was activity in 21?
yeah, so
Which
it's
is
kind of a
kind
good
of,
gap between when
yeah,
she first went missing and when she contacted her family.
absolutely.
I do like that we have several different pictures here of her. I think that's helpful.
This is very helpful. I mean, at least you can kind of have an idea of the different appearances and stuff like that.
Yeah. Shout out to Ricky though. I do see down here a little QR code that's on probably most of these flyers.
Yeah.
So he's getting a little technological with his Windows Paint there. That's awesome. We have Miranda Hunt. Miranda Hunt is a missing endangered runaway who went missing from Kansas City, Kansas on August 20th, 2024. She is 16 years old. She is 5'6" to 5'8" and weighs 170 pounds. She has brown hair that was last known to be dyed black and blue eyes. If you have any information on Miranda's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Kansas City Police Department at 913-596-3000 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. Eyes on you. Yes, Ricky's hard work is very much appreciated.
Yes.
Thank you for recognizing that and agreeing.
And then sure. You go over the King of Spades has made a comment. His awesomeness is being covered. So many people go missing. How many people are currently missing in the state of Kansas, Hope?
Adults, it's 414, and juveniles, it's 194. Our numbers are down from last week.
Down slightly, but they're down.
And one thing, Ricky does make these flyers, and every week we probably cover 20 to 25 flyers. But that being said, the amount of people that are missing versus how many flyers are made, and Ricky's probably the only person in Kansas making flyers, by the way, but the amount of people missing versus flyers are made, like the surface is barely being scratched. There's so many more people missing than we have pictures of. A lot of, if you go to like the KBI website, a lot of them will just have a name and an age. So it's a very, and we're just doing Kansas for the most part. So a very serious situation.
Yes, it is.
Too many missing people of all ages.
Absolutely.
Yes, man. Harsh world we live in, full of hate and lawlessness. Very true.
Yes. You don't kind of block it out living in a small town like Elkhart until you hear of somebody that's close to home. We have AJ from Ulysses, and then we had the one girl from Dodge, and it's like, whoa, things are getting too close for comfort. I'm I'm used to my sheltered life in Elkhart, and it's scary
Well,
to think
ma'am,
that
I
you
think
know
that's gone.
it is. It is. I mean, I'm not saying that I haven't experienced things in my life because I have, but it just seems to when you actually see it on a flyer, it hits home, and you're like, wow, it does happen around here too.
I wanted to point out Ricky he does Kansas missing and unsolved and Missouri missing and unsolved. And as Stephanie pointed out earlier, like he's also got a full-time job and kids and stuff. So there is obviously 48 more states, and we're just barely scratching the surface. Uh, I'm going to pin a Facebook group here. We are not associated with this group, but I do know of some of the people who run it, and they're very good people. Uh, Facebook, it's just Oklahoma cold cases. As of right now, that's the closest thing I can think of that is covering a lot of cold cases in the state of Oklahoma, which there is a ton. We do cover some. Ricky will make a flyer for anybody that reaches out to him, but being in Salina, Kansas, a lot of the flyers do. They are for Kansas, but follow Oklahoma Cold Cases on Facebook to be up to date on a lot of the stuff that's going on down there.
And I want to say, I could be wrong, but I want to say that I recently saw Ricky say that he is starting a more specific group, possibly to people that are missing from the Salina area. We'll get more information on that. We'll have that for you next week. Connie Judd, my heart hurts very much. Kenny, I hope he gets found soon.
Yep, absolutely. This next one, I remember when it happened, it was just what 30, 45 minutes north of here, and it was so tragic.
Whenever this situation happened south of town in March, a lot of people in chat rooms and in comments are comparing that case to the Michael Golub. There is a lot of
Similarities.
similarities to it for sure.
Yeah.
This one is a lot smaller, so we'll see how we go. We have Michael Eugene Golub.
Stephanie, if you on the right, if you look at the where your big screen is, where you and Hope are, if you hover over it, there'll be a little square on the bottom right side where the scroller's going across. If you click that, you can full screen and you can read it better.
Oh, look at that.
There you go.
Okay. All right. So Golub was last seen in Stanton County, Kansas at 6:00 p.m. on May 20th, 2005. He had just finished work at his job at Kramer Harvesting and was supposed to pick up his 5-year-old son at his ex-girlfriend's home, but never arrived there. He has never been heard from again. He left behind a fiance with whom he had an infant child. It is uncharacteristic of him to leave without warning. Golub's gold and brown Chevy 510 S10 pickup truck with toolboxes and Trego County, Kansas license plates was found abandoned on a country road in northwest Grant County, Kansas, 2 days after his disappearance. Following the truck's location, authorities began investigating Golub's disappearance as a potential homicide. Shannon Floyd, Golub's ex-girlfriend, and her husband, Chad Floyd, were arrested and charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder in Golub's case in June of 2006, so just over a year after he disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
There was a great deal of animosity between Shannon and Golub, and they were frequently disagreed over child support and visitation issues related to their son. Golub's blood was found on the Floyd's front porch. The Floyd's defense attorney said there was insufficient proof Golub was dead and suggested he had committed suicide or left on his own accord. At the couple's July 2007 trial, the jury was unable to reach a unanimous verdict and a mistrial was declared. A second trial was also ended with the jury unable to reach a verdict. Golub's body was never found, but foul play is suspected in his case due to the circumstances involved. If you have any information regarding Michael's disappearance or know of his whereabouts, please call the Kansas Bureau of Investigation at 800-572-7463 or 785-296-4017.
when Michael went missing, I mean, there was a lot of things that happened around the time that he went missing, and you hear the stories being in small towns. But I just watched a video just the other night on this where his mom, his family was being interviewed and stuff. And after the second mistrial,
Mm.
Shannon and Chad booked it. They left town, you know, and that's what, you know, they were trying to leave before then. And because there was a custody case going on, their attorney or whoever it was like, well, if you try to leave, most likely Michael will get little Mikey.
Mm.
You'll lose custody. And Shannon flipped. She absolutely flipped. So, you know, there's a lot of speculation. There always is when there's a case like this. But, you know, there's a lot of fact too. There was enough plausible deniability in things that the jurors just couldn't come up with a guilty verdict.
I
That
just
and it was held in the same town
What
that
happened in?
where it happened,
Oh.
I just pinned a comment. CBS sent, so Hope does say there is a lot of speculation, but in this case, it was CBS kind of they flat out said on that video, it's a whole like maybe 30 or 45-minute special. It's still out there. They come out and say like everybody's pretty sure this couple did it, but there's no proof. I actually talked to Michael's. He has a couple of sisters, and I have a few recorded phone calls with his sisters. Last I checked in with them, essentially all of both trials they're available for the public to go through and dissect and see exactly what was said in that room. But just like anything you purchase from a courthouse, it costs money. I don't have an exact amount, but I believe for both trials, it was going to be. I'm guesstimating from a couple of years, anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 just to get them to print out, because it's two trials that both ended in hung juries. Very, very sad. And he had two kids, a couple kids, and they're still around. And one of them actually drives his sisters told me that they called him people either called him California Mike or the Milkman because he drove an old milk truck. And I guess one of his sons drives the milk truck. Very dark thing. One thing that I'll say that his sisters did tell me is that his kid, based on what they could, again, this is about 2 years ago, I talked to them. His son, who's old now, was told his dad, like either he was not told what happened. And I don't know many, like both of you on screen had parents die when you were young. I don't think either of you have ever Googled it to see if what was told to you was true. So from what I was told from family, that the kid back then still had no idea like that there was a trial or any. He had just always been like, oh, my dad just abandoned me, or either abandoned me or died of, but it wasn't the truth. So very, very dark for everybody involved. And it's just, here we are all these years later, and he has two children that are just, they'll never know. Nobody knows what's going on. But if you want to know, like, CBS all the way back in 2009, Justice in the Heartland did a very good job of sort of laying everything out there that Hope was kind of getting at.
Yeah.
Derek, do you know if his kids are still in the area?
I'm not 100% sure. I think I just heard that one of the kids drives the old truck, the old milk truck, and his sisters were just very, very, like, that was like the one. So, and I don't think they have a relationship with them, but like they had heard through the grapevine that the kid had fixed up the milk truck and was driving it. Yeah, it's I don't know if they're still there. I just know that that was a silver lining for the sisters. Like, they thought that was really neat. That, essentially like these kids, like they did meet their dad, but they didn't meet their dad. They probably don't remember him, or I don't know exactly their feelings, but yeah, that's pretty special. But yeah, he's just a guy. Michael's a guy from California. Ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time, and we're still, as a nation, curious what happened that day.
Absolutely.
All right, this is our last flyer for the evening. We have Ava Spacek. Ava is missing. She's a missing endangered runaway who went missing from Wichita, Kansas on May 21st, 2024. At the time of her disappearance, Ava was 15 years old. She is now 16. She is 5'2" and weighs 140 pounds. She has brown hair. It had red highlights at the time she went missing and brown eyes. Her septum is pierced. Ava wears a lot of black clothing. If you have any information regarding Ava's disappearance or you know about her whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9456 or 316-660-9452 or 316-263-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. One thing I do want to bring up is so Ricky has a beautiful table layout that he sets up when he gets to an event that will let him set up that does not charge. I know he was at the wrestling event in Salina, I believe, recently that he talked about he was going to do that. This is a great thing to do to be able to spread the word even more about missing people. So my request to you is if you're in a town, could be anywhere in Kansas, closer to Salina, probably the better, so Ricky could get there with his busy schedule. But if you have events in your town that would allow a booth for free, go ahead and reach out and let Ricky know, because I know that he's looking for more opportunities to spread the word. And that, like, especially now, there's a lot of things that have happened in the summer. A lot of things were coming to fall, so there's probably still more options out there. Just let Ricky know what your town might let him do. Maybe you host an event and you usually charge, but you'd want to let Ricky come for free. Who knows? If he's available, I know that he will be open to it, and he will do what he can to try to do that so we can spread the word. Again, also, we are coming up to our time, but please remember Ricky and his hard work and visit that Patreon link that is out there because he does deserve to get paid for his time and his effort.
Absolutely.
So,
without Ricky, we wouldn't have a lot of these flyers. So, or well, any of them really that he does.
Yeah. And I have told Ricky before, like he is the face of this show. We went back and forth on if we would hold a show without Ricky. We really don't like to do that because he's why that this can happen, and he's why the flyers happen. But we wanted to provide the consistency for you, the viewers, and for everyone who's depending on these flyers to get out and the word to get out about it. So I think that's all I have, Hope. Check out Hope's podcast, 7 Day Circle. It's pretty good. They talk about a lot of different things. If Derek mentioned that we have parents that have both been deceased, I have a podcast out there too called Parentless Podcast. You can find it wherever you listen to podcasts. Haven't put a new episode out for a really long time, but there are old episodes out. And then if you visit Back Home Media, there's lots of different shows that are put on. There's something for everybody. And definitely 7 Day Circle with Hope and May, that airs live on Sunday evenings. At what time?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Or pretty close to 9 o'clock.
Whenever you get here, right?
Right. We've been trying to do better.
You are. You're doing good. You're doing good.
Our podcast talks about just daily life struggles with mental health and addiction. And so, tune in. You might learn something, or you might teach us something. We appreciate anything that we could, better ourselves and help somebody else, because our show is based on experience, strength, and hope.
Of course.
Real quick, Miss Marple. Facebook. Just go to Facebook, search for Kansas Missing and Unsolved. Follow the page. All of the flyers, you can download them. You can print them. Please, please, please share them. Yeah, you can. You just follow the page. Any flyers that you feel like are close, that you can help out. Just share it, and then again, you can download them. You can upload them. You can make your own content with them. Ricky's flyers are used by pretty much every news station, every publication around like Kansas. In my opinion, I don't see many people making them. And he makes those for free. He doesn't get paid when they're used on the news and stuff like that. And I promise you, he doesn't care at all. Take his flyer, make a TikTok video. He just wants the flyers to be out there into the world. Queenie has a good thing. She says that she noticed that Ricky has a Venmo up on the top of the screen, and she sent him some cash. You might have killed him. If he sees money come on his phone, he might have fell over dead from shock. But
why don't we make that the mission? How fun would that be for Ricky just to be overwhelmed with all these like notifications that stuff is coming through for him?
Somebody could send Ricky 99 cents and a pack of bologna, and he's going to be overwhelmed. You know what I mean?
He wouldn't care. But I told him I was going to advocate for him because I know that he would never ask for money. And I said, I'm going to, because you deserve it. You put all of this hard work into it.
Yeah.
So I challenge you all. Go ahead. I know times are hard. You may not have anything to give. If you like share a flyer, that's awesome. So, all right. Connie Judd, I pray all come home safe. Yes,
Absolutely.
We do. Hope, lead us out, please.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be able to be here and to have the information we have on these people. Lord, we just ask that you put a hedge of protection around them and their families, and give their families some answers, some peace with whatever the outcome may be. Lord, we know times are hard, and this could be any one of us that has information on a flyer for a family member. So please, Lord, just be with all of them. Let them know that you're there and that you're always there. Thank you for another day. Yeah. And we'll see